Okay, so I just made a video showing you guys how I set all this up, and my SD card filled, and so it wouldn't save it. So I'm just going to tell you what I did. I essentially came in my front view and I created a spline. It's a line. Just a line, right? I just created this line. And then I separated it in my top view. I pulled it apart so that when the car goes on through the loop, I have to think about this, right? So as the car goes through this loop, when it starts to come around, it has to start to shift to the right, so that when it finishes the loop, it's not going to run back into itself. So I think you could see here, that's pretty much what I did. And I did it with one, right? I created one spline that I did that with, and then I pulled it apart, and you can see there's a gap. And I worked on it in all these views until I got it pulled apart, and then I created a duplicate, and I made the two on the outside, they're instances of each other, so anything I do to one, it will do to the other. So the one on the outside has been enabled in the renderer in the viewport, and the thickness has been changed to 5. The one in the middle is still invisible, so that when I render this out, I only see the two on the outsides. The one in the middle is what I'm going to put my car on. Okay, so I created a car, and the default pivot point for the car was on the bottom. Now even though I haven't drawn wheels, we're going to pretend we have wheels. I picked up the car and put it into position, and then I went to my hierarchy tab, and under adjust pivot, affect pivot only, I moved the pivot from down there to up here. Sorry, I moved it from up here to down here. And it causes, what's going to do if I don't move that pivot, it's going to attach the box car to the center of the path, and it's going to sit down so that it's on top of my tracks instead of on top of the wheels on top of the tracks. So if you ever have a character and you attach that character to your path, and then the character moves on the path about its waist, you're going to need to fix it by doing this. Come to the hierarchy tab, pivot, adjust pivot, affect pivot only, and move that pivot until it's at the base or the feet of your character. It will then be at the base of the path. Because what happens is the computer attaches the object or the character to the path at its pivot point. So you have to move the pivot point if there's a problem. Okay? So make sure you turn this off when you're done, or it will continue to move things around. Okay, and so then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to, and I think I may have already done this trying to test it out, and I'll show you anyway. For the box. For what I did for the box was I converted it to an editable poly, and then I deleted that top polygon. Okay, I just clicked on that top polygon and deleted it. And then I added the shell modifier. So when I deleted the top polygon, it looked like that. Okay, and so then I added the shell modifier. And what it does is it gives it a thickness now, and so that you now have a car. Okay, so I then clicked on the object and did animation, constraint, path constraint. And I'm afraid I've already done it once. I don't want to do it a second time. No, I haven't. Okay, animation, constraint, path constraint. And I'm going to select the car. And for some reason it put it all the way at the end. We're going to bring it back. Okay. There we go. Okay, so it's at the very beginning where it's gonna go. And we want it to follow. And we don't have any curves, so we don't need it to bank. If we had it going around curves, you would definitely want it to bank a little bit. And then allow upside down. And we don't want it to loop, we want it to stop at the end. know why it keeps doing that. Okay. All right, so I'm good to go. So now what I'm going to do is turn on my auto key, set a keyframe. Oh no, I don't have to do this. I'm sorry. Never mind. So all I have to do is play this out because it's already built in. The animation's already built in. Okay, ready? Here we go. Well, I don't know why I did that. All right, problem solve. Let's delete the path because for some reason, and I'm afraid I've already put one of these on here and I should have cleared it. Okay, whenever you're working on a path and you don't want to use the path anymore, don't delete the path. Come to the constraint, and you'll do that by going to the motion tab and hit delete path from here. Click on it in here and delete it there. Add path. There we go. Okay, so I added it and now it looks like it might work better. Let's play it and see. All right, it hates my guts. Why are you not following the path? Interesting. All right, just turn it back on loop just to see if that didn't. Huh. All right, well, let's go in the opposite direction. I don't know why. That's the funny thing about 3D Studio Max. You can do stuff a million times, and it works fine a million times. And then that million and first time you do it, it does something different that you've never seen before. And I have been working with this program since 1999. Anyway, but it worked. Just in reverse. No, flipping it does that. Well, I just don't know. Because I literally created it this direction. I have no idea why it's doing that. I have no idea. Sometimes, so if you really need it to go in this direction, and say in this case I would, sometimes I have found the best thing to do is to create a brand new drawing, just reset everything, save this, reset everything, bring this into it, and try it again. And delete the path first. And then it tends to kind of erase some memory and doesn't mess up the second time. Now there is a way to reverse it. This is really complicated stuff. But it's showing that it's there. Delete, delete. Okay. Let me just try deleting it and then seeing if I can't redo it by deleting it. Nope, now I've deleted everything. Okay, now it really hates my guts. Okay, so this is the time in which I would delete the car. And because it's so easy to create another one, I'm just gonna, and so now you guys can see how I created it. Because I didn't do anything special, I just did a box. Okay, so I'm gonna move it up to where it's over the track as if it had wheels. Hierarchy tab, affect pivot only, move the pivot to the line that it's going to run on because it's going to attach to that path at that pivot. Turn it off. Okay, take the box, convert it to an editable poly, delete the top of it, and then apply a shell modifier. Okay, and we got it. Okay, so now we're going to select it, animation, constraint, path constraint, and we're going to select the line. Did it again. That's really weird. I don't know And what's interesting is, you see, allow upside down is no longer. Let's see what happens when we play it. And then nothing happens when we play it. Oh, I'm in the wrong view. It's still going backwards. And that's what happens when it doesn't, when you don't allow upside down. That's why you want to allow upside down. Oh, you've got to follow it first, then allow upside down. Yeah, it's just going to go in that direction no matter what. But it's going upside down. It's pretty cool, huh? It does. It looks like it's going on the tracks. But that's the key to any time you want something to run on rails or tracks or anything, is to have your path that it runs on run down the middle of whatever it is, and then the visible stuff run to the left or the right of it, like tracks would in this case. It's just easier to keep that path as a separate object. Because otherwise, if we were using the rails, we would have to offset that pivot, which it would work. I mean, you could offset the pivot and it could follow the track. But if you ever have to change the track, you can just delete the path, copy the path again from the track that you've changed. And there you go. Okay? Okay. Well, have fun with this, because this is fun. And I just like go put some giant monster with its mouth right there eating a car full of people screaming. Or, you know, that's the great thing about what we do, is that you can do anything. But don't go too far with it, because if you defy all the rules of physics, as I've mentioned before, people won't be able to relate or find any reference point at all, and they'll be so confused they'll hate you for it. So you can break some of the rules, but not all the rules. Okay, what are we doing next? Not sure. Guess just have to see the next video to find out.